What fact is common knowledge to people who work in your field, but almost unknown to the rest of the population? An elevator will go up to the top of the hoist instead of crash to the floor in most catastrophic failures due to the counterweights. I don't know if that makes my elevator anxiety better or worse. It all depends on whether there is a masked villain sawing at the rope holding the counterweights. Twirls mustache. Coffee shops spend more on milk than coffee. I remember someone telling me once that Starbucks isn't in the coffee business, it's in the milk business. Most people are not good at detecting lies and consistently score no better than chance, 50/50, when tested. The score goes up slightly when it's someone they know that they are talking to, but not much. Ironically, most people rate themselves as very good at detecting lies, but they are wrong. To add to this, experienced detectives are no better at telling who is lying and who is telling the truth than rookie police officers. The only difference is that they believe they are better, right? I also remember reading that among law enforcement the only ones who scored above chance were Secret Service officers due to some of their special training in reading non-verbal language in strangers. Even they were only around 70%, though. A corporate policy of requiring users to change their passwords every 90 days does not make your system more secure. It tends to actually make things less secure. I've been trying to run this up the chain where I work, but they are so set in their ways, and because corporate says so. Okay, I don't want to hear you guys bitching when someone picks up the sticky notes around the office/shop with people's usernames and passwords written on them, and beeps everything up. And then you have the ones where it can't be anything related to the previous passwords you've used. I freaking hate it. At my work the passwords aren't even allowed to have characters repeat twice or more in a row. X. If I tried to do hello and then some random numbers, it won't allow it because of the double L's in hello. Absolute stupidity. Rules like that make it easier to brute force passwords because they can eliminate so many possibilities that way. Now they know to skip any combination that has the same letter twice or more. There is a surprising amount of infrastructure under your feet. You'd be surprised how much public utility runs underneath private property. Always call before you dig. We had a garden in our backyard growing up. I used to dig in the spots where my mom didn't have any plants growing. I decided one morning that I was going to dig to China. I was young, okay, and kept going until I hit a thick black cord. I stabbed at it with the shovel and saw all sorts of colors inside it. I thought I'd found some treasure, but what I was actually looking at was dozens of individual wires inside the cord, and what I'd done was take out the cable TV for the entire street. Edit. This happened in like 1985. That's why there was static on the TV, and there was no fiber involved. If it was full of colored wires, it was probably a telephone cable, and yeah, cutting through that would be a major disruption to your neighbors. It must have been both telephone and TV, because I distinctly remember my mom sitting in front of a TV full of static when I went inside after digging. There is no difference between a violin and a fiddle other than how you play it. A violin has strings, but a fiddle has strands. The joke I heard in college from a girl who plays the fiddle was, violins are tuned to C and fiddles are tuned to B ash. Sorry I'm dumb, please explain. Edit. I don't any more answers. I got lots of helpful answers. Thanks guys. So I guess I'm a little less dumb now. B ash and C are different names for the same note. In some museums, what you see on the shelves can be less than 10% of the whole collection. For example, the Louvre has over 460,000 items in their collection, and only has space to display about 35,000 of those, roughly 7.6% of their total collection. Due to limited physical space and for aesthetic purposes, most items in museums stay back in storage and/or archives. Plus, most items need to be maintained at certain temperatures and light. If we can't meet those needs, it will never be allowed for public viewing, ever. There are most likely some of the most amazing, visually stunning pieces of artwork that you or anyone will never get to see. Bonus, accession and deaccession can also be a touchy area. Just because it's old doesn't mean we are going to take it and add it to the collections, and we try to be nice to people who are disappointed we won't take their precious family heirlooms. Other times, it's easier just to say, yeah, we don't want that. Edited. For correct percentage of the Louvre's collection. It's slower than I thought. Edited again. For those who are asking, I have a BA in art history and a master's in museum studies. I presently work as a digital preservation librarian in the archives and special collections of a university and have worked in numerous museums/universities all over the world. It's been quite a fulfilling job. I've handled artwork from Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Warhol, Pollock, Picasso, and many more. Ask away, and I'll answer if I can. Heartworms are treatable for dogs, but not for cats. Also, keep on top of your heartworm prevention for your dog if they get heartworm, but you can prove that they've been continually covered, which isn't difficult. The receipts are good enough, and your vet will have them in their database. Then the heartworm prevention manufacturer will pay for the treatment. Man, I love that you all love your pets. I'll just add to this, your indoor cat or dog can get heartworms. Mosquitoes can come inside. That if your red guy is not busy, he is doing a good job, not a bad one, and you don't need to fire them. A friend of mine went to bat for me on this many years ago. I was sole head guy at a smallish company. Apparently one day, while in a meeting, happened to spy me playing Quake 3 and made a comment along the lines of what the hell do we actually pay him for? My friend thankfully asked, is your email working? Can you access the internet? Are all our servers up? That's what we pay him for. You're it guys like your security guard. You want him to be bored. As a security guard, can confirm. That's why I'm on Reddit. Edit. It's way better than being asleep. Touching your fresh tattoo with your unwashed fingers is bad. It's absurd how many times we have to tell this to people. It's so logical. Like, if you were just stabbed with a knife, you wouldn't rub your dirty fingers all over the wound. So why would it be okay when you were just stabbed hundreds or thousands of times with a needle over a wide area? Edit. Let me clarify. I do understand the need to press hard on an open stab wound to staunch the bleeding or prevent internal organs from spilling out, and also that it may be important/necessary to plug the hole with a finger or two to slow the bleeding until one reaches the hospital. Nevertheless, it is still infinitely preferable to administer this kind of first aid with sterile bandages and/or with sterile gloves covering your dirty fingers. In short, whether there are hundreds of tiny puncture wounds or just one but one, you shouldn't rub dirty fingers/hands over that part of your skin, if at all possible. Like, if you were just stabbed with a knife, you wouldn't rub your dirty fingers all over the wound. Yeah, no. People definitely would. Edit. It's simultaneously sad and funny that my most upvoted comment ever is basically people are really stupid. Virtually every piece of copper, aluminum, or steel you come across has been chopped to bits, refined, melted down and used to make whatever object it's a part of. Dozens, if not hundreds of times. Copper pipe probably started out as hundreds of different wires from various devices from around the world at one point. Gold and silver have been recycled much more than that. Because gold from multiple sources is routinely melted together, it is entirely possible that gold inside your wedding ring was the object of 1,000 murders. It is quite possible that some of your gold witnessed the burning of Troy, Carthage, and Tenochtitlan. Gold is the physical essence of human greed and malice. That's what is so great about it. Man, I'd love to read a story about a chunk of gold that's cursed, and it going through generations and spreading, and all the effects. Can I interest you in an evil piece of jewelry and one vertically challenged man's journey to do a geological field test? The toner in your printer is plastic being melted onto the paper. To add to this, an inkjet printer macro boils the ink in the printhead before transferring it to the page, bubbling just barely. I had no idea about this until last year. By a frickin' laser. Edit. Okay. The laser is used to electrostatically charge the roller and a heating element melts the toner. My point is a frickin' laser is involved in the process. The maximum spacing between spindles in a railing is 4 inches because that's the average size of a baby's head. Most building officials will carry a 4-inch sphere with them when doing inspections on new construction. Similarly, when public play structures are being evaluated, the evaluator brings two size paddles, one which is equal to the average size of a new norm's head, and one that equal to the largest average size of a child under 10. They then stick the paddles in all crevices of the play structure. If the smaller one, the head, can get through, the bigger one, body, must also be able to, otherwise the structure won't pass inspection. No one is going to see your website if you don't have a strategy to drive traffic there. For whatever reason, people seem to think if you put something online, people are, at best, going to flock to it in droves, or at worst at least stumble across it accidentally. But that's 100% not going to happen. Nobody's just going to stumble on your website. It's like putting a restaurant on the moon, not telling anybody about it, then wondering why no one's eating there. What are the best strategies for driving traffic to a website? Look up SEO. It takes a lot of work/effort, and there are some experts out there who make a good money in marketing/SEO. I used to do it as a side gig in college. I actually had a fun challenge trying to get a new site ranked at the top of the search over an existing company, which took a couple months. It's like black magic for some people. There is no such thing as a perfectly functioning aircraft. Every plane you fly on has a multitude of maintenance issues, just not severe enough to affect safety of flight. Edit. Effect vs effect. Edit. My apologies to everyone boarding a plane today. Rest assured, this is nothing to worry about. Planes are still the safest way to travel. Thank you for the nightmares. An electrical engineer isn't an electrician. I repair large format printers for a living. They are designed by electrical engineers who make big bucks. I can diagnose a bad fuse on a PCB and replace it, but if the customer gets a CPU error or anything deeper, I suggest replacing the board. Every once in a while I get a guy who says, if you are a certified tech, how can you not repair the board? You just want more money for a new board. I have to explain to them that electrical engineers go to many years of school to be able to design these boards and make a lot of money doing so, and if I could do it, I wouldn't be fixing printers. Most people understand, but some people won't budge. Fix printers but can't figure out how to cook hot dogs? Just tell them the boards are soldered by robots and the precision is impossible for humans. Most 911 calls an ambulance receives on a daily basis are not remotely close to being emergencies. Turning your computer or phone off and on again will fix a solid 70-80% of all problems the device likely has.